Welcome, everybody, to the live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. And today, as you can see, my subject, I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on in Afghanistan. And this thing is particularly relevant to ex-Muslims and because of the Sharia element and because of the clash. What's happening there is largely Islam exposing Islam, and it's showing, what the Taliban stands for, the danger that the danger of what's going on, and just it just seems like nobody knows what's going on, and I don't know who to believe. I don't know who to believe. You look at Joe Biden, and Joe Biden says, Joe Biden says that everything's okay and everything's going smoothly. But then you listen to the generals, and the generals say, we've got no way of getting all these people out. My concern, like everybody else, every other American, is, we've got 15,000 people there. At least 15,000, not including the Afghan translators and all those people. And so, I just wanted to look at, there's one particular question that I have, and it seems like the reporters are trying to get an answer for this question, and they never get the answer. And so I'm going to be playing you some news clips from some of the programs. And you know what? They're probably going to block my video because I'm using stuff from like CNN and Fox News and all this White House press briefings. I'm using some of that stuff because I want to show that the incompetence is unbelievable. It's unbelievable when we're talking about the lives of tens of thousands of people. And you guys know about how dangerous this is. You know what Muhammad said, And so the Taliban is following the teachings of Muhammad. They're following the teachings of the Hadith and the Quran. And it could be very dangerous for these tens of thousands of people who are still there. And the question that I'm going to ask, okay? And now you guys, this is the question that I'm focusing on today. My question, the reason I'm asking about this is because I haven't seen an answer. I've seen it asked, but I haven't seen an answer for it. It seems like the people who are at the airport in Kabul, that they are, they're working with them to try to get them in so they get on the planes and leave. Okay, and then they talk about, well, what about the people in the Kabul, in the city around the airport, and they said they can come to the airport and go. But the problem is, that some of the people who have received a message from the State Department saying, don't leave, stay in your home until you get a message, because there's a threat, and the threat from ISIS, This is one of the. Let me show you one of the messages. It's just mind blowing. I mean, it's so scary, man. This is what the Taliban said today. It says, it's a red line. Taliban warned the failure to withdraw U.S. forces by August 31st will provoke a reaction. That means we've only got, one week to get tens of thousands of Americans and the helpers out of Afghanistan, or they said it will provoke a reaction. What kind of reaction? What is the reaction they're talking about? And let me just show you this. And you know what? It's one thing if this was like just on Fox News or something like this, but this was on the New York Times. And just look at what the New York Times said. Yeah, and again, you guys, this is the message that they sent. This is the message that they sent to the people in Afghanistan, to the Americans in Afghanistan. This is the message that they sent to them. Look at this. This is the message that they sent to the people. ISIS poses an acute threat to U.S. evacuation efforts in Kabul. President Biden's national security advisor said. ISIS. You know ISIS. You know what ISIS does. Look at this again. ISIS poses an acute threat. You know what? I want to look up that word acute. I want to see. Now this is from the State Department. What are they talking about here? Acute. This is what acute means. You know, I'm just gonna put it up here. Put it up here on the comments so we could look at it. Dude, you guys, this is so scary, man. A bad, difficult, unwelcome situation or phenomenon. Present or experienced to a severe or intense degree. Severe or intense degree. Dude, acute, serious. This is the message that, you guys, imagine yourselves. You know, just imagine yourselves being in Afghanistan right now. Being in Afghanistan right now and getting a message like this. ISIS poses an acute threat to U.S. evacuation efforts in Kabul. President Biden's national security advisor said. We've got 1 week to get tens of thousands of people out of there. And ISIS is posing in, you know, and one thing that you keep hearing about, is, oh, the people at the airport, we're going to secure the airport. We got 6,000 people at the airport, and Biden sent another 6,000 people to secure the airport, and the airport is secure. Well, the thing is, the airport is a tiny, tiny, tiny part of Afghanistan. It's a tiny part of Afghanistan. And, you know, if there are Americans, you know, they don't tell us. You know, I'd like to say, well, are all the Americans at the airport? And they won't say. You know, I want you to watch this video yesterday. This was, you know, this is one situation where, you know what, I've got to give credit to CNN, because they, you know, I don't usually give credit to CNN. They're usually a bunch of and they usually, you know, cover for Joe Biden, and they're very anti-Trump and everything. But you know what? When I saw this video, and you guys, they're going to remove my video because I'm showing this, but I want to show you. And the thing that I want you guys to see, listen to this guy, because the girl is trying to get an answer. She's trying to get and they won't give her an answer. You know, and let's watch this. This is, you know, I'm really impressed with this girl, with this reporter. Watch.
Seen just a short time ago at Kabul's airport, Afghans scrambling to get out, clinging to the side of a U.S. military plane. And it took only about a week for the Taliban to march across much of Afghanistan and take Kabul. So where are we right now, and what is the Biden administration doing as it exits from the country? I want to talk about this now with Deputy National Security Advisor John Feiner, who is with us from the North Lawn of the White House. He has long time pushed for ending America's so-called forever wars. John, thank you so much for being with us. Look, I know there's a lot, of course, the blame game going on at this point in time, but let's just talk about what we're seeing at this moment. Desperate Afghans there at the airport. We understand from the Pentagon that they're planning to relocate up to 30,000 Afghan special immigrant visa applicants. Can you tell us anything more about what America is doing to help Afghans who put their lives in danger to help America?
Thanks, Brianna, for that question. Yes, the images that we're seeing out of Kabul International Airport this morning are very serious. We are going to be focused throughout the course of the day and beyond on ensuring that that airport is safe and secure. You know, these are desperate people. You use the word desperate.
You know what? Listen to this guy. We're going to make sure the airport is safe and secure. But the problem is there are Americans all over, not just Americans, but the others, all over Afghanistan. They're saying we're securing the airport. But listen to how she tries to get him. Well, what about people that are outside of the airport, like in the rest of Afghanistan?
And I think that's right. And these are people who quite rightly are looking for a way out or refuge, who are caught in a very dangerous situation. And that is exactly why President Biden has ordered the evacuation of thousands of vulnerable Afghans, both people who have applied for special immigrant visas to the United States, as well as others who are vulnerable, activists, women, judges, people who are potentially going to be in the crosshairs going forward, that we are going to be flying out of the country. But the prerequisite for that is getting this airport back safe and secure. That is going to be the main line of effort, so that these flights, which have already brought, by the way, 2,000 people who worked alongside the United States.
To make the airport safe and secure. Okay, but that's not the problem, because most of the people, the vast majority of the people are not at the airport. The vast majority of the people are outside of the airport, and not just right at the gate. They're all over Afghanistan. How are you going to get those people
and their family members to the United States in the last couple of weeks?
Getting it back safe and secure. Is it not safe and secure right now? What are your concerns security-wise?
The concerns, I think, are the images that we've all seen on television and other places of people walking around the runway and the tarmac. The United States has the forces that are necessary to bring stability and security to that airport. I think they have gone a great distance towards doing that since some of those images have aired. There are going to be more forces flowing in throughout the course of today and tomorrow, and we believe we have what's necessary to be able to enable these flights to continue as soon as possible, and that is the most important thing.
Okay, so John, what about all the people who are not at the airport? Because it's—
See, this is the great question that she asked. What about all the people that are not at the airport? Everything he said is about the people at the airport. And this is my question. What about the people that are not at the airport? And she's asking it. Watch how he dodges it.
Seems like they might be, look, for lack of a better word, right now screwed. We know that they are holed up.
Did you hear what she said? She says the people who are not at the airport. I love what she said. Listen to what she said.
What about all the people who are not at the airport? Because it seems like they might be, look, for lack of a better word, right now screwed.
Screwed.
We know that they are holed up in their homes in Kabul. We know that a lot of them are out even in the provinces, unable to get to Kabul. What is the U.S. government doing?
You see, they're out in the provinces, unable to get to Kabul. You know, this is—
if anything, to provide safe passage for people to the Kabul airport so that they actually can get out in the numbers that the administration is promising.
So the United States has communicated to the Taliban in no uncertain terms that they are not to interfere with the safe passage of Afghans to the airport who are looking to depart the country, and people who we are prioritizing for these flights that I've just—
Okay, you heard what the guy said. He says the administration has communicated with the Taliban not to interfere with people who want to come to the airport. But then they send this to those people. They tell the people ISIS poses an acute threat to U.S. evacuation efforts in Kabul. You know, what are the people supposed to make of this? You know, what are the people supposed to make of this? You know? And why Why won't he answer the question?
Described that are going to start
John,
to bring
let me
people out
ask
of the country. And just to finish this, we've been quite clear to the Taliban that should they interfere with those efforts, they will face severe consequences. And we have the military forces in place to be able to execute that. We are not seeing them interfering at this time with people's ability to get to the airport. And it is going to be.
They're saying they're not seeing them interfere. And yet we're hearing about people being beaten. We're hearing about people being kidnapped. We're hearing about people hanged. You know, I just think these people are lying to us.
Be very important that continues going forward. Now, Brianna, you know as well as I do that the United States is not in a position now and will not be in a position going forward to provide security throughout the city of Kabul and throughout the nation of Afghanistan.
Okay. You know, the U.S. will not be able to provide security throughout Kabul, just one city, Kabul, and throughout the whole country. They will not be able to provide security.
We are focused on the airport. We are focused on
the airport.
Priority populations and executing the evacuations that the president has ordered.
Where is the president? You know, why isn't he communicating fulsomely to the American people?
The president has been deeply engaged in all of the policy conversations and in this situation as it evolves in real time. We have met with the president and his entire national security team daily and often multiple times a day. That's going to continue again today. The president has spoken to this issue a number of times in recent weeks.
He has not. Look, John, totally different story than a few weeks ago, right? I mean, why isn't he out there now? Kabul fell yesterday. Where is the president?
I mean, again, Brianna, the president has spoken to this extensively, and I expect that he will speak to it again soon.
Soon, in the coming days, should we hear something from him today? Do you expect that? It seems like the moment demands that.
I'm not going to get ahead of both decision-making and announcements on this. All I can say at this point is that we expect the president again to address the American people on Afghanistan, and as soon as we have more to say about that, we will.
Okay, so this plan to evacuate up to 30,000 people, Americans as well as Afghans. So it sounds like those are just people at the airport. Do you have a handle on the numbers? Are there that many people at the airport right now?
So, Brianna, that's not just people at the airport. These are people, again, in particular categories. People who worked alongside the United States.
You know, she's really trying to get an answer from him, and he's really avoiding giving an answer. And I, you know, this was the day after Kabul. I mean, this is almost a week old. But the thing is, you guys, that question that she asked, what about the people outside the airport throughout the rest of the country? And there was nothing. That was 4 or 5 days ago like the president said. That was 4 days ago, man. You know, but, you know, it just shows you that they're not providing answers, man. You know, here's, you know, let me just show you this. You know, let me just show you this, because let me just show you this map right here. Okay. This right here is a map of Afghanistan, all of Afghanistan right there. That's the country. Do you know that Afghanistan is the 40th biggest country in the world? It's the 40th biggest country in the world. And it has about 652,000 square miles. 652,000 square miles. Okay, and you know, the question you got to ask. The question you got to ask is, you know, what about the people that live in those 652,000 miles? You know, what's being done to rescue them? You know, and you know, we had this today. Watch this situation today. This was unbelievable. Watch this.
Are you worrying about?
Let me just I've got the got to get through the commercials.
Thank you, Jen. There are Taliban fighters right now carrying American weapons. They're wearing American fatigues, the full kit of gear. How is that advancing America's national security interests?
Well, Peter, I think my colleague Jake Sullivan spoke to a version of this last week. But let me tell you, let me reiterate some of what he said. When the president made this decision to bring our men and women home from Afghanistan who were serving, he knew he made that decision not lightly. He made the decision with a clear assessment from his national security team about what the impacts could be. We have taken steps over the past few months to retrograde materials, to bring materials home, to make them not available to the Taliban. We have taken those steps from our military. But our choices at hand, the president's choices at hand, were either to equip the Afghan National Security Forces with the materials and the equipment and the weapons they needed to fight, or not. He made the decision to equip them with the weapons to fight. And we will continue to take steps to retrograde our materials and equipment.
I just want to say that, you know, they've given so much weapons to the Taliban. They've given so much weapons to the Taliban, advanced helicopters, tanks, rifles, guns, explosives, the stuff that they left behind in this hasty, unbelievably, I want to be careful because it's the president, hasty departure that they made, what they've given to them, and that I wonder if that's going to be used now against us, against Americans.
Does the president have a sense that most of the criticism is not of leaving Afghanistan, it's the way that he has ordered it?
You see, because every time somebody criticizes the president or, what happens is like, what's his name? That reporter, the one that loves Biden, that hates Trump. What was his name? Jim Acosta. You know, he's in love right now with Biden. But the thing about it is that when we criticize the departure, we're not criticizing the fact that he wants to leave Afghanistan. Most Americans want to leave. More than 2/3 want to leave Afghanistan. That's not the issue. The issue is the way he did it. But every time we criticize the way he did it, Biden says, for 24 years, we wanted to leave and we wanted to leave. We're not talking about leaving. We're talking about the way you left. The fact that you took the military out before you took the civilians out. That you took the military out before you took the weapons out. The fact you took the military out before you took all of the Afghani, the people who helped the Americans out, that you promised you were going to help. The issue isn't you leaving. The issue is the way you left. Why did you leave these people behind? Why did you leave these weapons behind? Why did you leave these Afghanis and Americans behind?
To happen by pulling the troops before getting these Americans who are now stranded. Does he have a sense of that?
First of all, I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not. We are committed to bringing
They're not stranded.
Americans who want to come home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very clear that we are not leaving Americans who want to return home. We are going to bring them home. And I think that's important for the American public to hear and understand.
Okay, and then following up on what somebody asked, Jake, the president likes to say America is back. But
okay. Anyway, you know, that ridiculous thing that she just said. You know, that ridiculous thing that she said. Oh, did you guys see that? I'm not sure if you saw it because I had that thing in front of the screen. Oh, dude. Anyway, this is where Jen Psaki is saying Americans are not stranded in Afghanistan. They are free to, you know, we're going to bring them home. And so anyway, stranded, the word stranded means to be stuck in a place that you want to leave from, to be stuck in a place you want to leave. And sounds like that's what's happening over there right now. But I guess maybe we don't understand English either. Maybe we need a new language You know, there was a scene in Schindler's List. I don't know if you watched that movie. You know, that, oh, shoot, sorry, guys. You know what? If you guys don't mind, I know that I did this. I'm sorry to do this again, but if I can go ahead and show you the video again, because I had the map in the way there. I kind of wanted you guys to see this. Let me see if I can go ahead and play this for you again. Sorry about that, you guys. That's kind of a drag.
States mission over the last 2 decades.
Let me show you this.
At this moment, desperate plane, and it took only about a week for the Taliban to march across much of Afghanistan and take Kabul. So where are we right now, and what is the Biden administration doing as it exits from the country? I want to talk about this now with Deputy National Security Advisor John Feiner, who is with us from the North Lawn of the White House. He has long time pushed for ending America's so-called forever wars. John, thank you so much for being with us. Look, I know there's a lot, of course, the blame game going on at this point in time, but let's just talk about what we're seeing at this moment. Desperate Afghans, they're at the airport. We understand from the Pentagon that they're planning to relocate up to 30,000 Afghan special immigrant visa applicants. Can you tell us anything more about what America is doing to help Afghans who put their lives in danger to help America?
Thanks, Brianna, for that question. Yes, the images that we're seeing out of Kabul International Airport this morning are very serious. We are going to be focused throughout the course of the day and beyond on ensuring that that airport is safe and secure. You know, these are desperate people. You use the word desperate, and I think that's right. And these are people who quite rightly are looking for a way out or a refuge, who are caught in a very dangerous situation. And that is exactly why President Biden has ordered the evacuation of thousands of vulnerable Afghans, both people who have applied for special immigrant visas to the United States, as well as others who are vulnerable, activists, women, judges, people who are potentially going to be in the crosshairs going forward, that we are going to be flying out of the country. But the prerequisite for that is getting this airport back safe and secure. That is going to be the main line of effort, so that these flights, which have already brought, by the way, 2,000 people who worked alongside the United States and their family members to the United States in the last couple of weeks.
Getting it back safe and secure. Is it not safe and secure right now? What are your concerns security-wise?
The concerns, I think, are the images that we've all seen on television and other places of people walking around the runway and the tarmac. The United States has the forces that are necessary to bring stability and security to that airport. I think they have gone a great distance towards doing that since some of those images have aired. There are going to be more forces flowing in throughout the course of today and tomorrow. And we believe we have what's necessary to be able to enable these flights to continue as soon as possible. And that is the most important thing.
Okay, so John, what about all the people who are not at the airport? Because it seems like they might be, look, for lack of a better word, right now screwed. We know that they are holed up in their homes in Kabul. We know that a lot of them are out even in the provinces, unable to get to Kabul. What is the U.S. government doing, if anything, to provide?
I actually want to show you another video that happened, I believe, today. And this one is very scary. This one, okay, this is very scary right here.
And issued this stark warning. If the US or the UK wanted to extend the 31st of August deadline in order to continue evacuations out of the country, would you agree to that?
No.
Why not?
This is something, you can say it's a red line.
It's a red line. That means that they're giving the president until the 31st of August, that's 1 week from now, to get tens of thousands of people out of there.
Biden announced this agreement that until 31st of August, they would withdraw all their military forces. So if they extend it, that means they are extending occupation. While there is no need for that, I think it will deteriorate the relation, that will create mistrust between us. If they are intent on continuing the occupation, so it will provoke a reaction.
They've got Joe Biden by the throat like that, and I bet you they're going to ask for money, or they're going to ask for weapons, or they're going to ask for something, because when you see they have the power, dude. Oh, dude, that's so scary, man. We need to pray, you guys. This is reality, man. This is reality, man.
Let's talk about the situation at the airport. People are very afraid of what life may look like under your rule. People are prepared to leave everything behind. They're prepared to risk their lives to leave the country. What would be your message to them?
First, I assure you, it is not about their worry and not about their scare. This is about they want their demand to resettle in Western countries. And that is a kind of economic migration, because Afghanistan is a poor country and 70% of the people of Afghanistan are living under the line of poverty. So everyone wants to resettle in Western countries to have a prosperous life. So that is, it is not about scared. Of course, for their justification to go there, they exaggerate, scare, and terrified, and so. So we know the Afghans. This is our society. This is not the fact they are scared.
We're hearing reports of members of the Taliban going door to door looking for people like journalists, like members of the judiciary, former government workers. We're hearing that girls' schools have been closed in some provinces. What are you doing about that?
All fake reports.
I was sure
if anyone is, as you say, and we investigate every incident, who is going door to door, he himself will be prosecuted and tried and punished, because that is a violation of our policy. But I can assure you, there are many reports by our opponents claiming what is not based on realities.
And as we now approach the date for American, British, foreign forces, soldiers to leave Afghanistan, what would you say to the families of those who died trying to help Afghanistan?
I first of all say they occupied our country. If we occupy your country, what you will say to me? If I killed your people in your country, what you will say? I think our people suffered a lot, bloodshed, destruction, everything. But we say the past is the past story, a part of our past history. Now we want to focus on future.
The IRC has been working in Afghanistan for over 30 years, since 1988.
Phew. Okay, guys, that's what that's what
Anyway,
the guy says, and his justification. He's not saying it's because women are fleeing because they've started beating women again, or because they started marrying 12-year-old girls again. And this is all taqiyya, what he's saying that they're not going, when they have videos of them beating people. They have videos of them beating people on their way to the airport. And that was my question, is like the girl was asking at the beginning of the first interview, is what about the people outside of the airport? What about the people outside of the airport? Here's I want to show you guys a map, and I know you guys have seen it already. You guys have been, but look at the size of this place. Okay. Look at the size of this place, of Afghanistan. Look how big it is, 652,000 miles. And, maybe there are no Americans outside of Kabul. Here's Kabul. You see Kabul right here? Right here, you can, am I showing this? Yes. You can see Kabul right there. Okay. And, but look how far Kabul is from the next biggest city. It's called Kandahar. And Kandahar is 308 miles. 308 miles from Kabul to Kandahar. 308 miles, you guys. That's how far the if there's any Americans in the second biggest city in Afghanistan, Rolling Stone, Highway to Hell, Kandahar, Kabul. If there's any Americans there, how are they going to get from Kandahar to Kabul? This is the second biggest city, okay? Maybe, just think about, it's not just about the people who are in the airport. Are there American people in Kandahar? And the problem is, I mean, first of all, we have videos of people being asked how many Americans are there. We still don't have an answer. They don't know how many Americans are in Afghanistan. We don't know how many Americans are. They're saying it's between 10,000 and 15,000, but they don't know. And this doesn't include the interpreters and all those other people. But just think about, now they have to make, when they say make your way to the airport, they say make your way to the airport, because they have said that. They said make your way to the airport. How are they going to go? Okay, this is going to be 308 miles. 308 miles from Kandahar to Kabul. 308 miles from Kandahar to Kabul. How is somebody with all the Taliban out, with all of the checkpoints out, with ISIS out, with threats of ISIS out, with threats of Al-Qaeda out, how are they supposed to go from Kandahar to Kabul? That's 308 miles from here up to the star, Kabul right there. How are these Americans supposed to make that trip? How are the Americans supposed to make that trip from Kandahar to Kabul? You know what? There's an article in a very non-Christian publication. It's called Rolling Stone magazine, and it's called Highway to Hell, a trip down Afghanistan's deadliest road. Okay, let me get my glasses here. A trip down Afghanistan's deadliest road. The $300 million Kabul-Kandahar road was meant to be a symbol of the new Afghanistan. Today it reveals everything that has gone wrong with America's longest war. And now we're gonna read to you just a little bit about the road between Kandahar and Kabul. This is between the road to Kandahar. Okay. Kandahar is one of the biggest cities in Afghanistan. Okay. Okay. Let me see. I want to tell you guys the biggest cities. Okay, here's a list of the biggest cities in Kandahar. Okay, guys, let me just get. Okay, Kabul is the biggest city. It has almost 3 million people. Okay, Herat is a big city. It has 673,000 people. Mazar-e-Sharif, okay, it has 582,000. Kandahar has 460. Okay, these are the main cities in Afghanistan. These are the biggest cities in Afghanistan. Let me draw a picture of it for you here so you can see it. Okay. Okay, I want to show this to you. You know, because, you know, I could go get the video, but I'm not going to right now. But I just want to show you, you know, there was somebody, okay, here's the #1 city is Kabul. 3 million. Herat, 675. Mazar Sharif, 582,000. Kandahar, it's a fourth biggest city. Jalalabad, almost 300,000 people. Okay, and look at the distances between it. Look, Kandahar to Kabul. Okay, let's just look. Let's just read this article. Now, this was written. This article was a few years ago, but it wasn't that long. It was actually no. It was a few months ago. This article was written in January 22nd. Okay, and this is in Rolling Stone magazine, you guys. It says it's past 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and Zarifa Afari is running late for work. Okay, with the Taliban coming in, she's not going to be going to work anymore. 6 days a week, she commutes from her home in Kabul to Maidan Shar, the embattled capital of the Wardak province, where she serves as the youngest female mayor in the country. Her office is just 30 miles southwest of the Afghan capital. So it's 30 miles southwest of Kabul, okay, from Kandahar to Kabul, okay? So that's the road there, okay? But getting there requires a drive down National Highway 1, a massive U.S.-built showpiece once hailed as the most visible sign of America's commitment to rebuilding Afghanistan after decades of war. 17 years after its completion, the highway is a glaring symbol of America's failures. Scarred, listen you guys, this is between Kandahar and Kabul. Okay, so if there's any Americans in Kandahar who want to go to Kabul, first of all, it's 308 miles, but listen to this. Okay, it says it is scarred with bomb blast craters that snarl traffic under constant attack from resurgent Taliban. Under constant attack from... How are you supposed to get from Kandahar to the airport in Kabul? This is what I'd like to ask Joe Biden. How are the people how are the Americans supposed to get from Kandahar to Kabul? Okay, that's 308 miles. And this is from Rolling Stone magazine a few months ago. Okay, this was written in 2021. It was this year that this was written. It says it's a bomb blast craters that snarl traffic and under constant attack from the resurgent Taliban. This is the mayor speaking. Every time I leave home, I'm thinking this trip might be my last one, Ghaffari said. This dangerous road could decide my fate. So we're talking about two of the major cities. Now, I'm not saying there's not Americans everywhere else. We're just talking about two cities right now. Two cities, Kandahar to Kabul. Okay, the people that they've talked to, the generals and everybody, they don't want to talk about these places. They're only talking about the airport. They secured the airport. What about the rest of Kabul? What about the rest of the country? How are you going to get those Americans from those other places? Now, this Kandahar is the fourth biggest city. You know, what about them? You know, there's one road. There's one American-built road from Kandahar to Kabul. Listen to what it says about this. The outskirts of Kabul, on the outskirts of Kabul, we do detour around a bridge that has recently collapsed. The asphalt starts to fall apart, and 4 lanefuls of traffic are soon jockeying for position on what's left of the 2-lane highway. Ghaffari's bulletproof SUV lurches to an abrupt halt, boxed in by oncoming traffic on one side and impatient southbound cars on the other. A bad situation. Her car jumps out, her driver jumps out, AK-47 over his shoulder. Now, yeah, and then listen to this. The Taliban like to hide and attack from the trees and homes along the road, Ghaffari said, scanning her surroundings through the bullet-riddled windows of her car. Anything could happen here. Now, I heard it the other day. Somebody said, find your way to the airport. telling Americans who are in all of this huge country of 652,000 miles, telling them, find your way to the airport. Now, the airport is in Kabul right there. You see Kabul right in the middle there? You can't miss it. Well, what if they're in Kandahar and they got to go down this road, according to which anything can happen here? And you guys, I know I'm being negative, I'm being all this stuff, but the thing is, you guys, this is reality. They're stuck there. And this is what the roads are like there. And this is an American-built road. So it's a beautiful, I mean, it's probably one of the best roads in the country. And it's got scarred by bomb attacks and Taliban attacks from the trees and from the houses, according to the mayor of this city. And so how can they say to the Americans, find your way to the airport? Who are they going to go with? Who's going to take them to the airport? That's another question. Who's going to take them to the airport? 652,000 miles. It's 308 miles from Kandahar to Kabul. Just because every time they ask, you know, they ask these experts, these generals, you know, how are the Americans going to get from, for the people outside of the airport? What they're told is they're told, oh, we've secured the airport. You know, that's what they're constantly telling them. We've secured the airport. We've secured the airport. And I'm sure they have secured the airport, but the problem is, what about the people outside the airport? What about the people in Kandahar? You know, what about the people in Kandahar? What are you doing? That's 308 miles. 308 miles. And the Taliban says, you better be out. You better be out. You better be out by the 31st. Let's watch another video with the.
So Bespoke Post, they just send you a
another video with the Taliban and see what they say. You know. I'll show you this other video.
Speak to Suhail Shaheen, the Taliban's official spokesperson for international media. He joins us from Doha. Mr. Shaheen, thank you very much for joining us here on the program. I just want to discuss August 31st deadline. The United States and their allies are now discussing whether they can stay beyond that deadline to evacuate everyone from the airport. The Taliban has said that's a red line. Can you help us understand the situation?
Yes. On the basis of the Doha agreement, the Americans had committed that they will withdraw by May 1st, but they violated that deadline. Now they again announced that they will withdraw completely from Afghanistan on 31st August. I think they should withdraw from Afghanistan and let the Afghan people start a new chapter of peace and reconstruction. And this is not a convincing justification if they say there are a lot of Afghans who are working with foreign troops and they are still there, they have not been evacuated. There is an option open for them. We are not creating any hurdles in their way. If they have passports and the visas are issued by the US to them, they can go to commercial flights anytime.
So there, you know, there's that guy saying that even though you guys, there's Takia being involved here because there's reports of people being beaten on the way, including Americans. There have been Americans beaten on the way. And here, you guys, I want you to see this because this is another Pentagon press, press briefing, and just look at them when they are asked about these Americans that are stuck there. Wow. Sorry, you guys, I'm going to go right to where it starts.
Self-defense. We're using all of our available tools to maintain the highest threat awareness, both in Afghanistan and throughout the globe. While this mission is not without risk, the safety of our personnel, American citizens, and Afghan evacuees at risk is of paramount importance. To wrap up, we continue to make progress in the completion of this mission. Since the end of July, we have relocated approximately 42,000 people. David.
John, were you being deliberately vague when you said the number of Americans was several thousand, or was it because you're not sure of the number?
Okay, he says, are you being deliberately vague when you said several thousand Americans because you're not clear about it?
If you need to check the number, I mean, that's the most important number here, the number of Americans. So if it's just a matter of checking the number, can you do that and give it to us? Or if you're being deliberately vague, tell me why you're being deliberately vague.
I think I'm just going to leave it at several thousand right now, Dave.
Wow.
Well, then tell us why.
Because I think the number is very fluid, and it literally changes nearly by the hour.
It's not more fluid than these 11,000, 37,000.
I'm going to leave it several thousand right now. Wafa.
Wow. Did you hear that, you guys? They don't even want to tell how many Americans were taken out.
You said that you heard the public statements from Taliban about the red line, the August 31st. Does this mean that you didn't hear it directly from them since you're communicating with them on a daily basis? Are you communicating with them on this issue? Did you tell them, discuss with them the need for maybe extending the August 31st?
I'm not going to speak to specificity with the communications that we're having with the Taliban on any given day. It happens several times a day. We are well aware of the stated desire by the Taliban to have this mission completed by the 31st of August.
It was Joe Biden's stated desire, and I wonder why.
Yes, I would tell you that we too are still planning on completing it by the 31st of August. That is the mission that had been signed by the Commander-in-Chief, assigned to us, and that's what we're trying to execute at.
Okay, this goes back to my question, you guys. This goes back to my question. This is my question, you guys. If there's people in Kandahar, they're saying they're going to finish it by, they're saying that they're going to finish it by the 31st. If they're going to do that, how are they going to get the people in Kandahar? We've only looked at Kandahar. We haven't looked at, some of the other major cities in Afghanistan, and I'm just kind of curious. Let's look at the second biggest city. The second biggest city is Herat. Okay, Herat. Okay, let me show you the map. Okay. Let me just show you this map right here. This is the second biggest city in Afghanistan is Herat. See it right over here? It's on the far end, and near the border there. This is the second biggest city. So I bet if there are Americans all over Afghanistan, there's Americans in Kandahar, and I bet there's Americans in Herat. This is the second biggest city in Afghanistan. My question is, how are you, when you're stuck in the airport there, how are you going to get those people in Herat? Because according to distance calculator, the distance between Kabul and Herat is 397 miles, 640 kilometers. 640 kilometers. And you know, I don't have any stories about the roads between Herat and Kabul. But I'm wondering, how are you going to get those people from Herat? If, you know, I mean, the British and the French, they started going out from the airport to go get their people. The Americans, today, I heard that they are starting to. I heard that they're starting to, that they sent, they sent, you know, helicopters to get people. But these people that they went to get were in, Kabul. They weren't like all over the country. They're just in Kabul. What about the Americans in Herat? You know, that's 400 miles from Kabul. How are they supposed to get to Kabul? Who's going to drive them? How long is it going to take? You know, what are the roads like? You know, these are some of the questions I have when I'm watching. When I'm watching these guys talking, you know, let's read what it says here about Herat. How far is between Herat and Kabul? Herat is located in Afghanistan with coordinate, and Kabul is located, you know, tells us where they are. The calculated flying distance from Herat to Kabul is equal to 397 miles, which is 640 kilometers. If you want to go by car, the driving distance between Herat and Kabul, oh my gosh, this is even worse. If you want to go by car, now you know they're not going to go by flight because there's no airports. So they have to go by car. It says if you want to go by car, the driving distance between Kabul and Herat is 811 kilometers. So if you're flying, it's 640, but if you're driving, it's 811. If you ride your car with an average speed of 70 miles per hour, travel time will be 7 hours, 14 minutes. And you know, what I'm wondering is, how can they get there? If the best road in Afghanistan is that road between Kandahar and Kabul, and it has bomb attacks, it has Taliban attacking from trees and houses. What about this road from Herat to the airport? Because they're telling the Americans, get to the airport. They're saying to the Americans, get to the airport. How are they supposed to get to the airport if they're in Herat? Herat, you guys, I'm not going to say it's 640. It's 811 kilometers. 811 kilometers. That's 505 miles. Because you got to go around the roads, you know, and around, it's 505 miles. How is an American citizen supposed to get, you know, I'm asking, maybe somebody knows, maybe they figured this out. Yeah, 504 miles. How can they get from Herat to Kabul if they're there? This is the second biggest city in Afghanistan. How are they supposed to get there? Eight to 9 hour. You know, it's an 8 to 9 hour drive, Alex, but they don't have roads like we have. You know, I just read something from Rolling Stone magazine about the best road in Afghanistan between Kandahar and Kabul. And that one has Taliban attacking from the side. That's what they said, from the trees and from the houses. It has bomb pots all over the road. And this is supposed to be the best road in all of Afghanistan. I wonder if there even is roads from Herat to Kabul. Now, I would assume there is. But man, how, you know, when they say, find your way to the airport, You know, I just want to see if anybody has said that. I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say that. I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say that to the Americans in Kabul. Find your, I'm just going to look it up, see, to the airport in Kabul. I wonder if somebody has said that. Oh, dude. Oh, Jesus. You guys, I wish I was wrong and I didn't really see it, but here it is. Let me see if I could, you guys, I think I'm going to throw up if I watch this, but let me go.
Well, it might be very tough to keep that.
Okay, let's listen to what this guy says. Dude, I think I'm going to throw up, you guys. I think I'm going to throw up. Okay. Unbelievable. Okay, listen to this guy.
That promise. Let's get more on the U.S. response. Let's bring in Democratic Congressman John Garamendi. He joins me now live from Sacramento, California. Congressman, thanks for being with us. I just want to update.
From Sacramento. I was born in Oakland, California. I'm ashamed this guy's going to say what I'm going to.
You and our viewers, you may not have seen this. The U.S. Embassy in Kabul is now warning that the U.S. government cannot ensure safe passage to Kabul airport. And this is very tricky for people who are stuck outside the airport, which is an area essentially controlled by the Taliban. What do you think should be done about this?
Well, first of all, I think my colleague, with whom I have enormous respect, is absolutely wrong. We're going to send American troops into the heart and into the suburbs and into the streets of Kabul to extract people. It makes no sense whatsoever. We do control the airport. We're going to do the very best we can, and the people in Kabul and in other parts of this country are going to have to do the best they can to get there. There is no
You guys hear that? This is a Democratic senator, you guys. He's a senator, one of the most powerful people on the planet. Did you hear what he said?
Other parts of this country are going to have to do the best. We're going to do the very best we can, and the people in Kabul and in other parts of this country are going to have to do the best they can to get there. There is no way that
They're going to have to do the best they can to get there. Okay, so they're going to have to drive 811 miles. Find a way to drive 811 kilometers, I'm sorry, to get to the Kabul airport. Or if they're in Kandahar, they're going to have to drive 308 miles on roads with Taliban attacking from trees and houses. There's no way American soldiers can go extract them. Let's listen to the rest. I'm going to throw up.
the American military should use military force to go to someone's house or some building somewhere to extract people. That will create a very significant problem and a very significant loss of life on both sides. We do control the airport. We should continue to do that as long as it
We control the airport. Can you guys believe this guy?
takes to extract as many people as possible. But to provide safe passage from parts of a huge city, no way, not sensible.
I want to throw up, but I want to get into.
to keep that promise. Let's get more on the U.S. response. Let's bring in Democratic Congressman John Garamendi. He joins me now live from Sacramento, California. Congressman, thanks for being with us. I just want to update you and our viewers. You may not have seen this. The U.S. Embassy in Kabul is now warning that the U.S. government cannot ensure safe passage to Kabul airport. And this is very
cannot guarantee safe passage to Kabul airport. Oops, sorry.
Excuse me, Congressman, do you agree with AOC?
Sorry.
tricky for people who are stuck outside the airport, which is an area.
It's tricky for people stuck outside the airport. And I like what the other girl said better. The other people said, in other words, those people are screwed. Those people are screwed.
Essentially controlled by the Taliban. What do you think should be done about this?
Well, first of all, I think my colleague with whom I have the enormous respect is absolutely wrong. We're going to send American troops into the heart and into the suburbs and into the streets of Kabul to extract people. It makes no sense whatsoever. We do.
Makes no sense whatsoever. What happened to leave no man behind? What happened to leave no man behind? We got the most powerful military in the world, and he's saying this?
Do control the airport.
We do control the airport. We do control the airport. We do control the airport.
We're going to do the very best we can, and the people in Kabul and in other parts of this country are going to have to do the best they can to get there.
You're going to have to do the best they can to get there. So they're going to have to travel 811 kilometers from Hatar. Let me go back and see this. 811 miles. Just Janice, these people are just dead meat. Tiger, I think I'm going to throw up too. The honor. Repent, yes. It's like, let's just watch it again. It makes us throw up. We'll throw up together. Unbelievable, man.
There's no way that the American military should use military force to.
There's no way the American military should use military force
to go to someone's house or some building somewhere to extract people. That will create a very significant problem and a very significant loss of life on both sides. We do control the airport. We should continue
control the airport. Control the airport.
To do that as long as it takes to extract as many people as possible.
Extract as many people as possible. You just got done saying you don't want to extract people.
But to provide safe passage from parts of a huge city.
It's not just a huge city, bro. It's a huge country. It's not just a huge city. It's a huge country. 40th biggest country in the world. But this is America. We leave no man behind. Remember in Lawrence of Arabia, the scene where the guy falls off the camel and then everybody leaves him, but then comes Lawrence and he takes care of the guy. See, that was the whole difference between England and a lot of the people, those desert people from Turkey, I think they were. I'm not sure where they were from. And now you're saying You just leave them. I hope you have constituents that can call you.
No way, not
Yeah.
sensible. No, provide safe passage from parts of a huge city.
You need to provide safe passage. You need to provide safe passage. I think that's the next word. These are the words that they need to hear. You need to provide safe passage from Kandahar, from Hattar, from all over Afghanistan, because these are American human beings, citizens like you, like your kids.
No way, not sensible.
Sal John, awesome. American government must make Taliban take all Americans to the airport free of charge. Good luck. Yeah, you know what? I think if Donald Trump was in office, you see, he knows how to get them to do that. But Joe Biden and these guys, look at this guy. Look at this guy, the stuff he's saying. Yeah, I'm for let the Afghans make their own destiny. But the problem, my concern is the Americans who are stuck there. My concern is the Americans who are stuck there. Yeah, USA is definitely looking weak. Taliban doesn't want another invasion, do they? You know what? You know what? The problem isn't just Taliban. The problem is that what did the U.S. government send to those Americans who are already scared out of their wits? They sent them this. ISIS poses an acute threat to U.S. evacuation efforts. And you see, I just wanted to look today, I just want to look today at the distance between, some of these cities, and how could they tell the Americans, how can they tell the Americans, look at this is the country, look with me, here's the screen, look at the country of Afghanistan, here's the country. Here's another very big city. It's called Kunduz. Let's look how far Kunduz is. Herat is the second city. That's the one that's 811 kilometers. Kunduz. Let's see how far it is from Kunduz. It's 346, flight route is 346 miles. The distance between Kunduz and Kabul, the nearest airport, is 346 miles. 346 miles. Oh, no. It's this is the air travel. Okay, the air travel is okay. And it just, they're telling people, you just saw it. An American senator, Democratic senator, is telling people, find your way to the airport. Find your way to the airport. They need to do their best to find their way to the airport. Okay. 556 kilometers. If they want another, we do, Marie. Absolutely. We need to pray for those people stuck there. May the Lord Jesus give them courage. I tell you what, you guys, this ISIS threat, and it's not just a threat, it's an acute threat. It's a serious threat. And, I have faith for Afghanistan that the Lord's going to move there, and God bless you, Alex. Thank you for coming on, bro. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, dude, I've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. I just wanted to come on for a little while. I'm not blaming Biden. Well, I'm not sure who to blame, but, when you look at the distance, let's look at the distance from, there's a city called Farah. Farah or Zaranj. Let's see from Zaranj. See if there's any Americans in Zaranj to Kabul. That's another major city there. Zaranj. Okay. And you guys, you know, when we're saying that these are the distances, that doesn't mean by any means that they can travel these ways. It doesn't mean at all. Okay, I'm going to write it down. From Zaranj. Zaranj is 754 miles or 1,214 kilometers. 754 miles. And what does this senator say? He says they need to find their way over there. So, you know, Chloe says, I am blaming Biden. I'm with you, Chloe. You know, I don't know if you know, I think I'm going to stay on just for another 15 minutes or so, but I don't know if you'd like to come on, Chloe. You can come on. I'm not going to be on that long, but just, dude, it's like I want to watch that video again, just because I don't believe what that guy said, you know. You know, if you'd like to come on, Chloe, feel free. I sent an invite there. Kind of get your view about what's going on, and let's watch this again.
Keep that promise. Let's get more.
Let's look, you guys. When he says this, okay, it's from Kandahar to Kabul. That'd be the fourth biggest city. It's 308 miles. From Herat to Kabul, it's 500 miles. From Zaranj to Kabul, it's 754 miles.
On the U.S. response, let's bring in Democratic Congressman John Garamendi. He joins me now live from Sacramento, California. Congressman, thanks for being with us. I just want to update you and our viewers. You may not have seen this. The U.S. Embassy in Kabul is now warning that the U.S. government cannot ensure safe passage to Kabul airport. And this is very tricky for people who are stuck outside the airport, which is an area essentially controlled by the Taliban. What do you think should be done about this?
Well, first of all, I think my colleague, with whom I have enormous respect, is absolutely wrong. We're going to send American troops into the heart and into the suburbs and into the streets of Kabul to extract people. It makes no sense whatsoever. We do control the airport. We're going to do the very best we can, and the people in Kabul and in other parts of this country are going to have to do the best they can to get there. There is no way that the American military should use military force to go to someone's house or some building somewhere to extract people. That will create a very significant problem and a very significant loss of life on both sides.
Okay. Hello, how are you?
Hey, how are you, brother?
Hey, we got Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
Good.
Hello, Chloe.
Hi, good to see you, Brian.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chloe? You know, this is something that's been bothering me for the last 3 days as I've been watching all these crazy interviews with these generals, these vice presidents, with all these people. They keep talking, we secured the airport. We sent 6,000 people to secure the airport. And what about the people outside of the airport? What about the people outside of Kabul? 811 kilometers away from Kabul and Herat, or 500 kilometers away in Kandahar, or 700 miles away in Zaranj. What about, are there Americans there? Because they haven't told us. They're not telling us where the Americans are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a big thing that I've noticed just watching Biden, he is very good at lying. I know I saw I think it was an article saying that he's sure that the Taliban isn't gonna take control. And look what happened there. He was like, we're not gonna let the Taliban take control or something along those lines. But at the end of the day, Tiger was saying it's not Biden's fault. You're the commander in chief. You're the president of the United States. So anything that goes wrong for the states, any American blood that is shed in Afghanistan, it's the president's fault. And I would say the same thing if Trump were in office and he screwed up. I would say it's Trump's fault if he was the president. But since it's Biden, everything's going to be on him.
Yes. It's
That's just my opinion, my view on it. And it is frustrating. And like you were saying earlier, the last person they should have taken out was the military because they're able to defend themselves. They're not American, regular, normal American citizens. They're the military. That's their job.
Well, that's what Donald Trump put this thing, and I had that. He says, first of all, you take out the civilians, then the Americans, then you take out the helpers, people that help them, then you take out the weapons, and then the military leaves. They did everything backwards.
And they're helping Afghani refugees to get out on American planes before they're helping Americans guaranteed to be out. That's also what boggles my mind. You want the United States and Australia and the UK are taking in refugees before they're taking in their own citizens, before they're making sure every one of their citizens are in the country safe and protected. That does not make sense whatsoever.
And if you look at the media, well, if you look at the media yesterday, there's a huge writer at the New York Times. Her name is Maureen Dowd. She's been there for 50 years. She's one of the biggest opinion writers on the New York Times. She wrote this huge article about the situation, and she's talking about, she never mentioned the Americans that are there. She goes immediately to, and those that we promised who are helping us. And I know, we want to help them, and we made a promise to them. We're in debt to them. We owe them to bring them to America. And she didn't say nothing about 10 to 15,000 Americans. And the media, it's like they're not talking about the Americans as much as they're talking about the helpers, which we want to help the helpers, but Americans come first. They're Americans. This government is the American government to protect Americans. And they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good, Steve. How about you?
I'm doing good. How is this situation playing out in where you are?
The situation is quite good. I'm in India, so you don't have to bother anything about Taliban right now. But 2 days back, I heard a news where Talibanis are, no, not sorry, not Talibanis. Afghanis are flooding in India as a refugee.
Oh.
So this would be a problem for India because already the economy of India is melting down.
Wow.
The inflation rates are very high, and I don't think that Indians would be able to support these refugees. But a good news for you guys. I don't know if you have heard about this or not, but yesterday I was chatting with one of my friends. She lives in Indianapolis, and she's been living there from past 4 decades. So she's an Afghan American, and she's a Christian. So yesterday she gave me a news which is quite good, because many people have this question that what about Afghani Christians? What about Afghani Christians? Where will they go? Are they still hiring? So I would like to tell you that many Afghani Christians who are living in America, they are helping those Afghanis in Afghanistan itself in terms of money, shelter, plus the paperwork which is needed to get out of that country. And the friend of mine, even she's involved with one of the organization who is dedicated to help these Afghanis Christians. So right now they are only helping Christians from Afghanistan, and they are getting them out, and also they are raising funds for them as much as they can.
Wow, praise the Lord. That's good to hear.
Yeah. Because I've seen in the comment section that many people had this question that what about Christians of Afghanistan and so on, but they are getting help because what I believe is the news which is covered by CNN or any other news channel is not 100%. It's just 60% or 50%, and the rest of the news are still uncovered. But we have some people. I mean, I have my friend who has some connections with Afghanistan still, and she knows each and every news of that country. She's been in my friendship from past 2 years, I would say, and all of her news are very genuine. She has many friends still there in Afghanistan, and she's working with an organization who always tries to help those Afghani Christians. Not now, but from the past. So this is something good for us to hear, I guess.
Lord. You know, on the one
Because
hand, you'd like to see the Christians stay there because you'd like to have that Christian presence there. But on the other hand, you get the reality that the Taliban, ISIS, Al Qaeda, with no American protection, you don't know what they'll do to the churches. I mean, and the churches have been threatened already.
The churches are threatened. Plus, many Christians are not supposed to work these days, and not only these days, but from the past, from the very beginning, they were always under prosecution. So, what I would say is right now, the conditions of Christians may be bad, but they are still getting some help from Western countries. And I think that the Western countries, especially America, should be most inclined towards the Americans who are stuck there in Afghanistan. So right now, we cannot say that who is the culprit or who, because of whom this matter took place. But still, we can pray for them right now.
Of course.
And the question about your and the answer for your question that you raised earlier at the beginning of this conversation was you were saying that why did Biden left with all the weapons there in Afghanistan, and now these these Talibanis are using these weapons against us. So I would like to give you the answer for this as well. So at the time of Trump, when the Trump was in the power, from that time when the Trump government was supporting these Afghani forces to fight Talibanis, that time they used to get a lot of weapons and the money from coming from America. But these money used to not go straight into the pocket of Afghan army. It used to straight go into the pocket of those lieutenants and generals who were the head of the army, and they were all corrupted. And the money they used to use it in some different way, and the Talibanis used to get the real weapons what they needed actually, because Taliban needed funds, and this is the reason why the Afghan forces was defeated very badly by Talibanis.
Wow. Here's a
It is
message
nothing. Yeah.
from one of the churches that they sent the other day. It says, from a church leader in Kabul, the Taliban is sending letters to churches saying, we know who you are and we're coming for you. Lord have mercy. That, I don't know. That's amazing. The guy put his picture on it too. I mean, Cologne Kitchen, and we just need to be praying. We just need to be praying because the situation, you know what, no matter what we say about it, because I lived in the Middle East, and I lived in the Middle East when a group similar to the Taliban took over the city that I was in. And I remember how scared I was, because they shot at my window. I mean, I had a bullet hole in my window, and I was hiding in the bathroom, because there was shooting going on between two different groups. And the American government had to come and evacuate me too from there. But I just remember people came and smuggled me one night and took me to their house at night because they weren't fighting at night, And then this group came to the area where the house where I was at. And I really, you don't know, if they knew I was an American, what would have happened, And so I'm just thinking when they're telling these Americans, find your way to the airport, and they're hundreds of miles away from the airport, and there's no safe roads, there's no way for them to get there. It just blows my mind that they're doing that, and you ask them about, we've secured the airport. So anyway,
it's like, how is that supposed to help me?
You know what? Look at this. 754 miles from Zaranj. These are the big cities. These are, 652 kilometers from Kandahar. From Herat. Excuse me, from Herat.
Is something supposed to be on the screen, Steve?
No.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
I showed you all my slides today.
It's scary. No, he's Biden and his administration is going to have a lot of blood on their hands. And if something really bad happens to those American people, even Democrats won't let them forget it. They didn't let Hillary forget Benghazi. You think they're going to let Biden forget Afghanistan?
You know what? The last time we had similar situation to this that I remember was 1979 when the Ayatollah Khomeini took over Iran, and they had the hostages. There was like 51 hostages in the embassy, and it was like America stood still. It was like every single day, all we waited for was news about the hostages. We're talking about thousands of hostages. I don't know. What do you think about this, Brian?
It's nothing. We cannot predict anything about this thing. It's a very crucial situation wherein they have given the deadline of 31st August. So Americans have to evacuate their citizens before 31st of August. Plus, the situation is going worse and worse because ISIS is getting involved into this matter. And if ISIS collaborates with Taliban, I believe I don't want to have, or you can say, I don't want to spread negative vibes, but I think that something wrong is going to happen. But to prevent all this thing, we can only pray, and our prayer will work.
Jesus' name.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the government. Excuse me, I'm just putting this up for the government would not. I mean, this is from the State Department. They would not put this out unless they really thought it was dangerous, But this is what they said: ISIS poses an acute threat to U.S. evacuation efforts. President Biden's national security advisor. What's amazing to me, they do it so nonchalantly. It's like, okay, let's just drop this in. Instead of Biden coming out and saying, hey, there's an ISIS threat. I'm coming in there. You guys touch one American and we're going to send you back to the 7th century.
He's a coward. That's what he is.
Instead, yeah, they just slip it in through the back door, like you just in passing. Unless you knew it, fortunately, the New York Times picked up on it and put it on their front page, Look at it again. ICE poses an acute threat to U.S. evacuation efforts in Kabul.
Yep. Yeah.
They wouldn't, they wouldn't come out and say that unless it was very,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We could pray. So.
Yeah, hopefully people in the West, in America, in Canada, and all these other Western supposedly free countries will wake up and see, it's amazing. Afghans are fleeing from Sharia law. Muslims are fleeing from Sharia law to come to the West that they say is evil, but they're leaving what they believe in and coming here because they know it, because they know it's bad. Wake up, they're leaving. It's like a Christian, like let's say Christian. They're like, oh, we want to establish a Christian nation. But what, like, obviously, for example, we know whatever it teaches, our religion teaches is bad. We're going to flee to another country. That's what they're doing. And then they want to bring the Sharia over here to America. If they bring it over here, it's done. It's done. The world is done.
Well, I know I've played this video 600 times, but because you brought that up, I just want to play this video one more time. This is because our problem is inside America. With that we're being deceived. Even though I kind of feel like what's happening right now is going to wake up America. Wake up the Americans and say, wait a minute, what's going on? What's the truth here? I hope so, but I don't know. Sometimes people are so asleep, but here's this video. I've played it many times before.
All these really bad.
Okay.
So how do people figure out what Sharia is? They go online, they Google an image, an infographic shows up, and it tells you Sharia law is stoning women. Sharia law is all these really bad, horrible things, right?
It is all these bad, horrible things.
It's ahistorical. It takes things and quotes from the Quran out of context. And in fact, as someone who is a doctorate of Islamic studies, we can argue the same things that people will say about Sharia, we can say about the Bible, like things that are found in the Torah or the Bible or the Quran is pretty similar.
The Torah, the Bible, the Quran, you don't even know what you're talking about.
She doesn't know the context. She doesn't know the context of Bible and the Torah.
Yes. If
Christians were evil and violent like Muslims, I can assure you, not even a single Abdul would have left in, you can say, in Western world. All would have died.
Yep.
Why is she attacking Bible? What is the reason? If she's so much considerate and she has such a lot of soft corner for Sharia, she can go to Afghanistan and live there. And she can get the experience. Within 10 days, she'll come back running to America.
So can Ali Da'wa, Muhammad Hijab, Adnan, Adnan Rashid, all these guys who love the Sharia law. Hey, this is your Disneyland. This is your Disneyland, you guys. Go.
Don't bring it here.
Yeah.
Rashid was saying most Muslims claim that Taliban are doing what they're doing and ISIS are doing is not real Sharia. Then they haven't read their sources. Then they're literally quoting the Quran, saying what they're going to do and how they're going to run it based on what the Quran and Muhammad and Allah claim. And that is literally what they're saying. It's in their book. So for them to claim, that's what they say in the West too. Oh, that's not real Islam. It's peaceful, whatever. It's in your books. So that's what I have to say.
So I guess Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah should be sent to Afghanistan for 10 days or a month. And they will get the experience.
Why 10 days, man? This is their dreamland. This is their dreamland, And this is what they're telling England. They're saying, England, this is what you want, Sharia. I'm hoping England will wake up because England is the one who's asleep right now. I hope they'll wake up.
They have sold their churches, and now everything is in the hands of Muslims. Everything is just gone. People are leaving the religion, but there are still some fighters of Jesus who are bringing those Christians, those astray Christians back to their faith. And Christians are doing well, okay. But as far as concerned to Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah, they are all, you can say, they're all liars, big fat liars.
Yes, it's true, man. But
they don't know anything about their books. They don't know anything about their books. They're trying to, marble their religion in order to get more people into their Islamic religion, I would say. But this is not going to work for a long term. It has an end and it will end soon. So we want more and more Christian warriors to fight these disease of Islam. Because unless and until Christians won't wake up, nothing is going to change.
Hey, you guys,
And
I
I'm
want you guys to listen to this. I want you to listen to this video.
Yes. Yes.
I'd like to get your opinion on this. Oh no. I don't have time to show you the one I really want to show you. But let me go ahead and play this for you. Just a second here. I really want to show you the one with, I'm just going to show this and then we're going to pray and that will end it, you guys. So I won't keep you guys too long here. But I'm curious. I haven't seen this video, but I'm curious to see what it says. So, okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A lot of people ask, what exactly is Sharia? What is there something that Americans should be scared of, or what type of totalitarian ideology is this? Well, the fact of the matter is that Sharia is a personal set of laws and ethics that Muslims follow in their daily life. There's nothing to be worried about. It's nothing that's scary about the Sharia. Every single religious system has.
When he says that, I think about the guy. Think about the guy who was in the wheel well of the airplane. The wheel well to get away from Sharia law. And he fell in the wheel well of the airplane to escape from what he's saying because he lived under it. And he knows the reality of it. And so Americans, what are you scared of?
Has its own laws. Its own norms. Observant Jews follow the halacha. They eat kosher. Well, I mean, Muslims have an equivalent where they will follow the Sharia. They're going to eat halal foods. And in fact,
are the Jews going to be cutting hands off?
The Sharia is a personal set of laws that Muslims basically live their lives by. And it is true that the Sharia tells us what to eat and what not to eat. It tells us how to dress. It tells us what is permitted in transactions and what is not permitted, that we cannot be unjust. We cannot take advantage of the poor. We cannot do this. We cannot do that. We're also encouraged to give charity. We're encouraged to be generous. We're encouraged to be merciful. So the Sharia is a set of personal laws and values. Now, some people bring up certain laws of the Sharia that might have been applied in Islamic caliphates some centuries ago, such as the cutting off of the hands, with this or that. And there's no denying that elements of the Sharia did discuss national laws because
I wish Adam was here because he could tell you the first time that somebody's hand was cut off. Do you guys know it?
Yeah, I know Adam Seeker. Yeah, I know him.
Did you know about when the guy whose hand was cut off?
No, I don't know about that thing. No. There are many videos, tons of videos.
Yeah, but this was when in Muhammad's time, when Muhammad instituted it, it was a guy who stole, I think it was a banana.
Okay.
He stole a banana, and so Muhammad had his hand cut off. And, it's like so. For the problem that Yasser Qadi has with this is, ancient Islamic. No, it's Muhammad. Problem. It's not your ancient Islamic empire. It's Muhammad. He did this. He instituted this. And so for him to just come out and say, the ancient empire did this. No, Muhammad did it. That's the problem. That's why it's still alive. And we had the I showed you guys the other day, but let me just show you again because it's heartbreaking. This I had some pictures from and this one right here, this broke my heart, man. These young men, they were thieves, and they're being led around by their neck with a rope around their neck, and they're thieves. And you see, they put tar on their faces first of all, and did a public parade. And what do you think they're going to do to these two thieves?
They are going to slaughter them.
I don't know.
They are going to decapitate their hands and legs.
Yeah, it's their hands. They're going to cut their hands off, and possibly these young men, and it just shows you this is what's coming. This is why the guy got into the wheel well of that airplane. He fell, and.
Well, we can send Yasser Qadi to Afghanistan too with all the other propagandists if he wants it so bad. We'll send him there too for a few days.
Yasser Qadi has a little bit of common sense. You know, he keeps saying things that makes the Muslim mad because he keeps telling them the book does say this, and it's, you know, and I don't believe he says that, you know, about the Gog and Magog thing and everything. You know, so he has a little bit more common sense, I think, than a lot. And he's a graduate from Yale. I mean, from an American university, and yet to be this committed, you know, to this book and stuff. And anyway, I think we lost Brian. I'm not sure where Brian went, but
Yeah, me neither.
okay. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and pray, you guys. Let's just end this with prayer. You know, maybe Chloe, you can go ahead and pray for the Americans that are stuck in Afghanistan, that they can get out, and for the women in Afghanistan who are going to be stuck under this.
Yeah, sure. Lord God, we come before you now. You say 2 or more are gathered in your name. There you are among the midst, God. And I know more than 2 of us are here. God, I just pray for your protection over the Christians in Afghanistan, Lord, your people and the Americans, God, that you know ultimately what's going to happen in the end to them. You know the rest of the story. So whatever your will is, God, to bring them home, or if they're going to meet you in glory, Lord, that you just give them a sense of peace and your Holy Spirit provide them with comfort. I pray for all the women who are going to live under this evil ideology, Lord, that you just put your hand over them and open their eyes, Lord. Open many Muslims' eyes who think that this is a good idea to live under Sharia, that the truth will prevail, and you show them the real light of Islam, that it's not of you, God, it's of the devil. And God, we pray for wisdom for our leadership, because the way it's looking, this country is so lost without you. So we just come together and we pray for a revival of America, that with all this hurt and with all this pain that we're going through, that our president, the administration, would just look to you for guidance and wisdom. And we pray for just safety for all of us. Continue to protect us from COVID and the COVID Delta. And we come and ask you this in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for praying. And thank you guys for being. I don't know. Oh, you lost a connection. Okay, Brian. You know, Brian, I think we're going to go ahead and end it now. So, you know what I want to show you guys, just in case, I just want to summarize it, because I really do feel there was a message that I wanted to communicate today. And that is that you have people like this senator who are telling Americans who are in places way far away from the airport, they're telling them, find your way to the airport. 800 miles, 700 miles, 300 miles, 500 miles. There's no roads. The best roads are bombed. The Taliban is shooting from the trees and the houses, according to the people there. And you're telling Americans, find your way. How are the Americans supposed to find their way to the airport? How are they supposed to get and then once they get to the airport, they have to face acute threat from ISIS. And you are not, and the senator said they are not going to provide safe passage. Those are the 2 magic words, you guys. Safe passage. They have to provide safe passage for the Americans to get to the airport. They have to. It's their duty. And anyway, that's what this was about. Thank you for being with me. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night. And remember, Jesus help me. Jesus forgive me. Jesus come into my heart. Jesus help me. Jesus forgive me. Jesus come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. God bless you. Love you guys. Have a great night. I know, France did. Yeah.